Are DevOps bootcamps worth it? So I want to share a quick story with you. I actually did a bootcamp years ago, not DevOps, but I'm talking about IT support slash infrastructure, kind of the same thing as system engineering, basically, sysadministration. And I did this a long, long time ago, and involved me doing courses for about 2 months and got a whole load of exams and badges at the end of it. And luckily, or not luckily, I mean, I chose specifically the boot camp was not just a training half, but the other half was also an agency. And this agency, the recruiters, the agents, they had links with different companies. They had relationships, direct lines of communication. They were able to get me a placement first and then a real job after. So you really need that out of a boot camp. Are DevOps boot camps worth it? Well, today in DevOps, it's a very different world from what I did before infrastructure. You've got a couple of different camps of people. You've got people who did software engineering and probably didn't go straight into DevOps. They consider it to be a mid to senior role at the very least, and not a junior role. Although I know there are some software engineers who have gone directly into DevOps, and honestly, I think a lot of these people kind of regret it anyway, because they're like, well, I'm expected to be like a developer and to do all this other stuff that is related to DevOps and deploying software and automation. And many of them go back and say, I prefer just to focus on pure development. So then you got the other camp, which is like me, ex-sysadmin, system engineering, and then went into DevOps. Maybe they went through a middle channel as well, like going through cloud engineering or something like that along the way. I personally think a good team is made of a mixture of these two. However, there's a bit of a power struggle in the industry, and I would say right now, simply because so many people have done software engineering in the last 10 years, this market is absolutely flooded with software engineers in DevOps and even outside of DevOps in regular developer world. So just because of the sheer numbers of people, it's kind of like, that it's become a gate-kept profession that, oh no, only developers can do DevOps. I happen to disagree with that. Like I said, I see the best of both worlds, but I would say that's a bit of a difficult argument now, and I'm completely outnumbered these days. It's super difficult. Now, these same people, obviously, if they think you should have a background of going through being a software engineer, and even better, being already experienced before you make the move to DevOps engineering or platform or SRE or whatever, then they're not going to highly rate someone who's just come through a boot camp who probably had no tech experience before it. So it's going to be an uphill struggle right from the beginning at DevOps boot camp. Several months, I've heard some are up to 6 months, but at least 3 months. And I like the idea of people who done boot camps because in my view, what we do in our jobs is not rocket science. Now, I know some things will come with experience, no doubt about that. However, I would also say that a lot of people have a lot of experience in different companies, and they still don't learn a lot of some areas. For example, I've met people who have a lot of experience. They don't know how to troubleshoot, right? So they haven't had the right experience. They've only been exposed to some type of experience and not another type, whether that's because of the way they steered their career or simply just look at the draw that they actually have X number of years experience, but it tends to be quite biased and it's not really all-round experience, and they're actually got quite a lot of blind spots. So just number of years on your resume is not really necessarily a substitute for actual real knowledge and ability to use that knowledge in an almost instinctive way, which I think is what people are looking for when they say so-called experience, right? That they're looking for an almost natural ability that has been developed over time. So I don't necessarily buy this thing about experience. I'd be happy to have a really super hungry junior person, junior DevOps. But one of the problems now in the market is you won't even see junior roles anymore, whether it's DevOps or pure development. All the roles are senior. Even mid will find it difficult to get a job now. Even seniors will find it difficult to move job now. It's just crazy. There's been so many layoffs. There's so many people looking for jobs. We've got this thing now called zero gap recruiting, which is where when you're going through the application process, you got to get 20 out of 20 on all the attributes they're looking for. And if you fail on just one, that's it. Into the trash goes your application. And they're just not interested anymore. So it's going to be, if it's difficult even for seniors and even for mids to move right now, how is someone who is completely fresh, apart from going through a DevOps bootcamp, supposed to get a job? I just think it's going to be super difficult. I think there's only one way, in my opinion, that it could succeed, and that is if the bootcamp has as well pretty much not just instructors, but I would say an almost equal number of like an agency attached to it with agency staff. I don't mean like 10 instructors, 5 salespeople, and 2 recruiters on the back end who are looking for work placements and full-time jobs. When I did my boot camp years ago, even back then, half of the company was like an agency. So you need something similar to that, is what I would say. Now, they're going to have all these terms and conditions, right? I know there are going to be some boot camps that have job guarantees and this and that. Look, all of these guarantees are worthless because they normally require you to make 100 applications a week and to do X, Y, and Z. And they're basically trying to fail you, right? So I would not read too much into a lot of these job guarantees. It's okay if they're there, but don't assume that they're worth anything. What you really need to do, any good boot camp, you need to ask them, look, I'm thinking about joining your boot camp. Can you put me in touch, please, with someone who's done this boot camp before? And any good boot camp will be willing to do that. I did it for the one I did many years ago, and I helped them out because they helped me. And I spoke to many prospective students and gave them a completely honest opinion. So if you're thinking about it, even though everything I've said it's going to be super difficult, if you're still thinking about it, make sure you ask them to put you in touch with someone who's done it before, preferably more than one person. And really, when I say interrogate, don't be aggressive, but this is your money that's at stake, right, that you want to invest. You really need to go into quite serious depth to test them, to find out, first of all, can you trust them? Are they being truthful, or has someone just been put up to lie on their behalf? Are they being truthful? And second, what's the substance of what they're saying? Were the instructors good? Were the people who helped them get work placements or employment after, were they good? Etc. etc. And you really need to find this out. Otherwise your boot camp is going to be a complete waste of time. That even if it promises to help you get something after, it's just a shallow promise, and they're just ripping you off. You really need that, and you cannot escape that, okay? And the other thing I would say is a lot of these boot camps, because obviously these days most of them are remote. Back in the day, I actually attended mine in person, but everyone's on the internet these days, and everything is remote. Most likely you'll do a remote one, but that's fine. You have a wide choice, but that also means there's plenty of scams out there remotely scamming people off. So what you need to do is you need to see, and this is a really good thing if you see this. Go to LinkedIn, search for boot camps there, and find a boot camp where the owner or one of the lead instructors, part of their job, and they really enjoy this part of their job, is showcasing and profiling the people that are currently studying underneath them, and going out there and talking about them and sharing the work. I've seen this on LinkedIn where really good bootcamp instructors are like, hey, look, such and such is on our course right now. They're super curious. They're producing some amazing work. Check out their GitHub repo. This is just really amazing stuff. This is what you need. I mean, first of all, that's the attitude you need as well, that you need to be 100% committed to this. When I've done a boot camp before, not everyone graduated. And this is quite normal, right? You get people who drop out. You get people who are just there, just wasting time. I don't know, someone paid for them. You'll actually find it's a minority who actually are serious and get through the whole thing. That's a big deal, actually. And it's a bit like people who join the gym, right? They sign up for 12 months. How many of them last until the end of the year? Hardly any, right? A boot camp is no different. So you want to look on LinkedIn, and these instructors will be super happy to profile you if you show your enthusiasm and your interest and you're committed, etc. Because it works for them too, right? They can attract new people. But you want someone who's genuine and is really promoting you and really showcasing you. This is all going to help you get placed, okay? So you can definitely find these people on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is the best place as well because they can have there the most professional reach. You're not going to get that on X or Twitter. You're not going to get that really on YouTube, and you're probably not going to get that on Reddit, because on Reddit people tend to be more anonymous. So you're definitely going to find this more on LinkedIn. That's where I would advise as the first place to look. You might find someone good on another social media, but I would start with LinkedIn. So I hope these tips are good. I just want to reiterate, a boot camp, you're up against it anyway, but if really one of your only choices to get to accelerate your learning, and you need a structured path, and you've decided it's a boot camp, then by all means go for it, but you need that help on the back end, okay? Very important. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know what you think. Give it a like if you enjoyed it, and I will speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.